Welcome everybody. So today I'm gonna actually diverge from the videos I've been making a little bit, and I'm going to introduce myself to all of you so you know who's speaking in the videos. Be prepared for a lot of interesting things that will seem pretty unbelievable, I'm sure, at times, but most of it's public record, I'm sure, so, well, not all of it, I guess. Anyways, I figured we'd start off at the beginning, as any good story, well, actually, not all good stories start at the beginning, but this one starts back in 1985, and my mother was pregnant with her first child, moi. And she was overdue, actually. She had been smoking for, like all people did back then, from the age of, like, I think she said 14 until she got pregnant with me, or when she found out she got pregnant with me, then she quit, just up and quit, right? My grandfather on my mother's side, he came to this country from Italy, and married a woman, and my grandmother, and she died of a brain aneurysm at the time my mother was 10, I think, or something like that. So she was raised by her father for most of her life, and his name was Anthony, so I was to be given that name. And like I said, as soon as my mom found out she was pregnant, she quit smoking, even though she'd been doing it for over a decade. And I just didn't want to come out. I did not want to be in this world. I still don't want to be in this world. But, so obviously I'm telling this from stories that were shared with me because I was there, but I do not remember any of this, thankfully. But my life started off with a explosion of miraculous events, right from the beginning, literally. So my mother was 2 weeks past due, I guess, with me, and my grandfather had just died, so I never got to meet him, my namesake, right? And I can just imagine how hard this would have been on my mother at this time. That's what for some reason, I'm thinking about. She's still alive, so is my father. They're still married, wonderful people. I don't know where I came from. But anyways, when she went to the hospital, she was 2 weeks overdue, and I don't know how they realized that there was something really wrong, but the umbilical cord had wrapped around my neck, and she had to have an emergency C-section. I guess when I came out, I was not alive, I guess. So I was born dead. I was stillborn. And somehow they revived me, but my mother doesn't know how long I was not alive for. But just based off of the whole story, I can say with pretty good certainty that it would be at least probably 3 to 4 minutes minimum. And it had to be long enough that the doctors warned her that I probably would never have full lung development. I'd probably have a lot of breathing problems. I might not be able to physically exert myself because of heart problems, all these things. I probably would, because of oxygen deprivation, I likely would have brain damage, all sorts of things, right? Literally, like, a whole plethora of unpleasant things to tell a new mother, right? About her first son, right? After her father just passed. So somehow, and that would be why my eye is like this, by the way, if you're all wondering. So I actually had to have multiple surgeries on my eye as a baby and into childhood. I had a muscle transplant. I'm still blind in one eye, legally blind. This eye is actually the blind eye, which is why this eye is always like going back and forth to check things, because this eye pretty much does everything. So beyond that, I miraculously, well, besides the miracle of being revived, which was the first big one, right? A pretty big one, I'd say. I started talking early. I was meeting all my developmental things earlier than most children do, I guess, or whatever. So that was like a good sign. But as any good mother would, good Italian mother especially, would do, my mother fussed over me, worried over me, and probably, well, I know she still does constantly. So, I give her good reason to. So, when I got to, this is like a pivotal moment in my adolescence, I guess you would say. I remember being in like, I don't know, like, it was elementary school. I was very, very young, let's put it that way. But I have a very clear memory of this experience. I remember being brought in to the nurse's office for some reason, I don't know why. And it had all these tests done on me, like physical exam stuff and whatever, blood drawn. I can't remember if there was blood drawn, but I do remember shots. I don't know if they were vaccines or what. Probably school vaccines. But it was just me. Like, I got called down there one day, and it was like I was getting these physical exams and, like, I think vaccines or something, right? So then I had to go to testing, and I was like, nobody else has tests. I don't know why I have to go to testing. This is weird. And I took the test, and it was like the forever test for like an elementary aged child. Like, I feel like it took like at least half the day. It was really long. It was just like me, and there was not even just one person administering the test. I remember it was like a slew of people. It was like so weird to me. It was like I was a very anxious kid. I wasn't social at all. I really didn't find what other kids did to be interesting, and apparently that'll play into the story here. So up to this point, as I stated, miracles upon miracles, because I was born dead, I was revived. Big miracle number one. Okay, of all the health issues that I could have possibly resulted from this, lack of oxygen and whatever else, nothing really ended up being the case except for my eye, right? So not that bad, pretty unscathed. Seems pretty marginal at this point, but anyways, back to the test day. So up to this point, I'm a little kid who's having surgeries all the time on my eye, going back and forth to the city, like a 3-hour drive, staying in hotels. Some of my best memories are me with a big patch on my eye, jumping on this hotel bed with my father, my mother, and eating cheese dogs in Philadelphia, because that's where we had to go for surgeries, whatever. Weird, right? Childhood. So, and I ended up having to wear a patch for like till I was in 5th grade, which really screwed up any social things from happening, beyond me already being like a loner and a weird kid. So anyways, once again, now really back to the testing. So this I will never forget. It's one of probably the most vivid memory of my childhood. I'm back in the nurse's office after the test, and the nurse looks kind of aggravated, we'll say, okay? And she rings up my mother on the phone, and my mother answers, and my mother's a loud Italian, so I can hear my mother talking through the phone, and I can hear the nurse, who, like I said, looks pretty aggravated. And she says, Mrs. blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to reveal my last name, not that it matters, but why did you have your son tested again? And my mother said, well, I'm worried about his development because he doesn't seem interested in school, and he seems not to get along with the other kids. He's very to himself, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't talk very much. When he's interested in certain things, he's really interested in them, but like obsessed, but you can't get him to do anything that he doesn't want to do, blah, blah, blah. That seemed, to her, that was like a clear sign that I was mentally handicapped or something, apparently. So my mother, and I'll never forget thinking in my head when I heard my mother say this, like, this is what she thinks of her son? Like, wow, okay. And that really traumatized me for a while. And, like, I started smoking marijuana, like, literally in 5th grade. And this would be maybe a year or two after that, or I don't even know. I can't tell you the timeline exactly. I just know it was all in elementary school. Anyways, the nurse basically said to my mother in a very, like, aggravated and frustrated and, like, defensive towards me, like she was being defending of me, like my defender in this situation. She says, well, wait, what did she say? She says, let me think about this, because it's on video and it's putting me on the spot, but I replayed this so many times in my head over the years. But she says, well, just for your information, that's what she said. Well, just for your information, we have a score here, and I think you might be interested in hearing it. And I could hear my mother's voice, like, or her response was like a sigh. It wasn't even a voice. It was like a, huh. Like, oh no, what? And she said, how bad? Like, come on. And the nurse was like, he scored a genius level IQ. His IQ was 143, or it was either 134 or 143. I was so upset at the way the conversation was going, and the fact that I just had gone through this long testing thing, all because my mother had literally probably forced them into giving me this test. And then hearing that from your mother, and then having the school nurse be the one who defends you. And, I mean, she just verified what I already knew. That I obviously was smart. That's why I didn't get along with kids my age, and I never have. That's why I wasn't interested in the stuff in school. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point is, like, I can't remember if it was 134 or 143, but it was Mensa level. Like, I could have been in Mensa if we could have afforded it, but we were broke, poor people. And, whatever. I did get inducted, or offered a special class for, like, the gifted kids or whatever. I was there for, like, 2 days, and I was like, I can't be with these dorks. I already have a patch. And I regret that very much so, because that class was really, like, the day or two I was in there was, like, it seemed like that would have been a really fun and amazing class, and I would have learned a lot in there, and probably I could have gone on a different trajectory, who knows, but everything happens for a reason. God has a plan for us all. But I regret that decision a lot, because that class was really exciting and cool. Just that one day even I was there, and there was only like 6 kids in the class from all different grades. But whatever. So yeah, big miracles to start off my first 10 years of life, followed by a big sin and starting of sin where I start smoking marijuana daily. So at 10, we'll continue later on. God bless y'all.